I would prefer to be here tonight than to be anywhere else.
Nobody understands that aspect of entrepreneurship. They don't understand the grind and sometimes the insanity.
There's only two things that you can do with your money: spend it and invest it. These companies want you to save, but they want to offer you 0% interest rates, and they also want to take fees from you every single month. You don't need people to believe in you. You just need to believe in yourself. What truly always made me happy was just being able to say, hey, I could wake up today and I could learn something. I could wake up today and I never have to change who I am to please anybody. I could just be me.
And it would have been mine if it hadn't been for those meddling kids.
Welcome to another exciting episode of the Full Gambit podcast. I have the pleasure of interviewing the CEO of Prospuh. And this is a very interesting name because when I saw it on paper, I read the article in Nassau Guardian. Obviously, I've been hearing great things about the app from some pretty high up folks.
Yeah.
So had to reach out. Lamont hooked us up.
Mm-hmm.
NN.
Yeah. Two N's.
NN. That it's pronounced the way it is. How? Like, give me a background on you.
So my father's name is Ian, and I have a niece that instead of calling him Ian growing up, she used to call him N'Nhyn instead. She couldn't say Ian properly. So somehow, some way, instead of naming me Ian, they gave me N'Nhyn. I don't know. That's the story that I was told, but it's I have the only N'Nhyn in the whole entire world. I'm pretty sure still.
That's a super unique name. And I'm sure now when that is out there, because you have the look, you have the product, you're about to have the platform.
Yeah.
I'm sure a couple people want to emulate that. Name their child after a blessing. Make a miracle.
Maybe we'll see. Everybody always asking me like, where's that from? Are your parents African or this or that?
Because it does sound African.
Yeah, but no, I mean, both my mom is fully like Bahamian. My dad's also Bahamian as well. But I was born and raised in the Bahamas, so I guess that's what they felt fit for me. So we're gonna go with that.
So Prospuh, like I said, I hang in some very diverse circles, and the minute it was launched, every couple of days, but you have to check out this app. They doing big things. Prospuh, where did it come from? How long have you been working on it? Like, give me the backstory.
So I started working on Prospuh about like 4 years ago, which was an interesting phase of my life, right? Like I was working for this guy, right? And he was in family office advisory services. And I remember one day we were in Manhattan and we had gone for lunch and we were sitting down talking, and he said to me, "You're too smart to just be trading," right? And at the time, I had no clue in the world. Like I'm like, what is this guy talking about? Like trading is my life. I only want to trade. And at the time, I was diving deep into derivatives. Currently, right now, I still trade European bonds and also some commodities derivatives only. So I don't do anything else. People still tie me to all these other things, but I don't touch crypto, if you know me.
Hold on, whoa. You don't touch crypto?
No, I was a part of the first crypto wave. Before everybody felt the need to hop on the wave. I owned Bitcoin when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So I was a part of the crypto. I bought Ripple when Ripple was 12 cents. Back when I was, at the time, maybe I think 18.
So you're done with it, or is it something that
I'm done with?
So you're not interested in it at all?
No, I lost so much money in one day during the first crash. Everybody knows about the second crash. Everybody knows about the second wave, but I was a part of that first wave.
You mean with the Mongkok stuff where things got locked up?
No. More like that 2017 when everything crashed the first time from like 20K.
Okay.
I mean? I was a part of that whole entire thing when there was like liquidity was kind of froze up on a lot of exchanges and people weren't able to kind of get their coins out at market value. And I lost a lot of money. And so from there, I just was always like against it. I had a bitter taste in my mouth for it. And I was just like, yeah.
So what are your thoughts on the fact that like BlackRock is coming around and they want to do and Wall Street want to get into Bitcoin and they're having all these ETFs? What's your thought process on it?
So I mean, I've always been in those circles, and I've been blessed enough to be in those circles, like internationally, by building those relationships essentially. And one of the big things that I would have noticed is like during that wave, what was really essentially happening in the crypto space was they were always a part of the crypto space. Although they may not have made it known that they were a part of it, they were always a part of it. One of the big things that they used to do is when, say, Bitcoin was at $3,000, these guys would pump Bitcoin up to $6,000, essentially just doubling their money.
Right.
And then using, OTCs and everything like that. And then they would just dump it back down and just repeat. And those institutions were making billions of dollars.
So the institutional money was always there. It was just not as pronounced as it is now.
They use it to create a stain because you could control the market a lot easier. Like it's kind of like for me as I trade in an order flow strategy. So just basically looking at buy sells on the depth of market charts and being able to kind of look at the market, the trades that are going at a market and also limit orders, because I trade on the ladders. And one of the things that, you look at when you trade like that is you're following liquidity. You're looking at where you're looking at iceberg orders. So the trades, you might have somebody call their broker and say, hey, I want to buy 50,000 contracts of oil. That's obviously not going to go in the market as a market order right away. So what they would do is they would have iceberg orders that do not go on exchanges and you can't see them, or it's like 50, 50, 50, different order types. And basically they were doing those type of trades at large levels and kind of pumping. They would maybe dump $50 million order, but have mass, maybe $500 million behind that, carry the market up, double that to $1 billion over 3 days, and then drop the markets back down. And you had a lot of guys that were into that whole entire wave, actually. A lot of the big guys, I won't even get into it, but a lot of the big hedge fund guys were a part of that. So that's kind of like what kind of created this whole entire crypto market. People think it's the retail traders. It's not. Crypto didn't go up to 60K because some person was like, oh, like this is worth something. No, it's of course not. That's crazy to think. It's, and it's one of those things whereas if and you understand brokers, traders, hedge funds, private equity funds, the things that they are doing, the strategies that are behind what they are doing, then you kind of get to say, okay, well, no, it's not going to 6K because you think some technical analysis or some whale is in the market. No, these guys were always moving the market. They're always in control of the market.
So you're saying right now, and I know Bitcoin Maximus that would be having an absolute fucking fit, is that Bitcoin pretty much is centralized and it's always been manipulated.
Oh, yeah, sure. I mean, that's just the reality of it, right? Like when you look at institutions, that's what institutions do. These institutions control mostly everything. Right?
I think that's for a lot of people now, with the BlackRocks coming out and publicly saying that they're about to get into the space. Everybody's like, okay, so now Bitcoin is going to be centralized. Like, what's next? What's the next step?
Yeah, and for me, it was interesting during this time period, the 3 years of starting Prospuh, because we could, if we wanted to, we could have crypto available as well. We chose not to, right?
So you're not gonna. Is it you don't want to?
We don't want to right now.
Not right now.
Not
but
right
it's a door that's possibly going to be open somewhere down the line.
Oh, it can easily be opened.
Okay,
but for me, which was interesting is, most of the guys that were mentoring me, the guys that own brokers, guys that were in private equity, guys that were in family office services and stuff like that, most of the guys who were mentoring me before I started this, because obviously being a broker in itself is not an easy industry to be inside of, because there's no school for that. There's no classes for that or anything like that. So you have to have those connections to basically be able to understand what it is that this industry consists of. Most of those guys, I mean, 1 or 2 of them were heavily on like, yo, go down crypto. Like, dude, just do crypto. It's not regulated and this is this. And I'm like, hey, look, at the end of the day, and I would have said this when I was probably like 21. I said, hey, at the end of the day, you guys need to understand that you think that it's not regulated. There's nothing that's not regulated. Everything's regulated. So
let me stop you right there. You say when you were 21. How old are you now? How old are you today?
I just turned 25 today.
Jesus.
So
wisdom.
Yeah. So I am one of the craziest things about those conversations always was like, all these things are coming out. Everyone was talking about nodes and this and that and the next. For me is just truly being able to understand focus. When you are around certain type of people, one of the greatest things that you learn is true focus. Like I said, I don't drink. I stopped going out. I stopped having a life. I lost a lot of friends.
But you didn't stop having a life. You realize that there are certain things that bring baggage. There are certain things that aren't worth it, and you focus in. You didn't stop having a life.
Yeah, no, I didn't stop having a life.
You took your life to another level that most people can't appreciate.
Yeah, no, I traveled 50 times last year. Stop having a life that would be bad to say, right?
50 times. Give me the top 5 countries.
Where did I go last year? I can't even remember.
Jesus, all the stamps in the passport, and I can't even remember.
Trying to remember where I went last year. I took weekend trips. Anywhere I was invited, I went last year.
Okay.
Anywhere I was invited. Like it was one trip I went on. I went to the States this trip. I went to 8 different states, or 6 or 7. Yeah.
And you just came back?
Yeah, I just came back from away, but I was kind of working, doing some stuff for, a contract that I'm working on.
Okay, let's talk a little bit more about Prospuh. We could come back to the origin story and the middle ground, but Prospuh, exactly what is it, and why did you feel it was important to develop and launch this 4 years ago?
So for me, one of the major things that I noticed while I was growing up is I saw some of my friends' parents get fired, which is true, which is a true statement. I saw some of my friends' parents got fired. And also on top of seeing that, I also was in environments where you would watch people work their whole entire lives and then have nothing.
Yeah, and that's all too real. Like you see, like just case in point, everybody's talking about the National Insurance Board, right? The money's running out, or you see people retiring at 65, they get a little lump sum, and then 2 years later, it's gone.
Yeah, and I started actually really I started diving into like finance and investing when I was pretty young, and starting to kind of get an understanding of what it is, what it is the environment actually consists of. And watching people work their whole entire lives and then leave with literally nothing, own nothing, pass nothing to their kids. Watching somebody work for 30 years and getting fired and then having nothing, and not owning shares in that company or having ownership or equity or anything like that. Something about that just didn't sit right with me. And then I started looking around and saying that at the end of the day, and that's why our slogan is like putting equity in the hands of the people, right? At the end of the day, you kind of saw the whole entire aspect of how much it affects people by not actually owning equity in anything, not owning anything. So many of us, a large percentage, maybe about 90% of Bahamians, get to 40 and have never owned anything.
Let's not talk about my age because I'm close to 40.
So, I mean, no, statistically.
Yeah,
right?
real talk. No, that's real.
Statistically, right? So for me, being in this environment, it's just like you hear a lot of these, you read articles or you see the news, you hear politicians and everything like that. And they say that the young people need to be able to take a lot of what we want for the future into our own hands. And for me, that's what it kind of was. It was like being able to create a product that gives people access to kind of being able to have their own entire retirement plan, have their own entire investments for their kids, being able to kind of even feel empowered and confident in general. Like if you're able to say, hey, I own 50 Tesla shares by the time I'm 30, like maybe that makes you more confident as a person to know that you are invested in something. Because I spoke to the Eugene Depuche graduate school,
the law school.
The law school. I spoke to their graduation one year, and the most interesting thing was like the questions that came up was, what do we invest in? And for me, when I think about what do we invest in is, I don't know what to tell you.
One thing that I've seen in the comment thread, and I totally agree with this, and that would answer this question: you invest in what you consume.
No, but not even that. This was 3 years ago.
Oh, you mean before there was even an avenue?
Yeah, the only thing that you could invest in, you can go to Fidelity and get some ETFs. You can go to
BISX,
or you can go to I don't know, central bank and get Bahamian registered stock, right? But
there's
no, I'm not saying anything's wrong with that, right? Like one of the things that
it needs to evolve. Like I mean, on this podcast, like we keep it real, and there's nothing wrong with it. It was great when they initially started it maybe 10, 20 years ago, but it needed to evolve. It needs to be reaction. It needs to be real time.
Yeah.
Right. And they haven't kept up.
It's 60 seconds on. And one of the things that I really noticed when I started to like dive into that, because I thought about doing like, oh, well, would it be cool to, and most of people don't actually understand. And if you want to get real, I could actually break that down for people. There's a few things that happen with Bahamian stocks. The first thing is, I mean, when you look at the order books, right, you have some dude sitting stacked up with 250,000 shares that is $10 each. I don't know where to get the pricing from for any of this stuff. It's just like if you
didn't do a proper evaluation. They just put it out there and it is what it is.
Right?
Yeah.
You have some dude sitting in the order book at 250,000 shares trying to sell at $12. Like way above market price, trying to, like this dude's trying to make money. Right. And then you have somebody to the bottom trying to buy way down. And they're all the way to the bottom. And they only buying 500 shares.
Right.
You got to eat out big dog at 250,000 shares at $10 in order to actually realistically move the market.
Right.
And that's why when you check out the order book for a lot of these shares, most of the people are buying and holding. And even the people that are trying to buy can't buy. So if you want to sell your shares, you basically got to go and lose a bunch of money in the first place if you want that right now, because it's going to take maybe a whole entire year. And the people that are selling those shares are either really wealthy people or companies. Right. So the reality behind that, and to take that further, like I said, when I thought to myself, okay, well, when you want an exchange in an environment, because I'll be honest with you, most of my things, most of the knowledge that I have in the financial industry is either from advisors, mentors, or me no-lifing. I work on average 18 hours a day, just to put in perspective. So
18 hours a day.
Yeah, I went to bed, I would say, and that's why I'm like maybe a little off and like not on point, and you know what I mean?
What's off about you?
No, I mean, I feel a little off because I know I haven't ate really. And this is something that a lot of my friends really talk about, but I haven't ate. So I'm a little slow. I'm not me yet. I need to still catch up. I'm still catching up.
Okay.
But I'd
love to see when you have some food in your system, because I don't think you're off at all.
I slept maybe 4 hours last night. I was up. I was in the office this morning at 7, and I just left the office before I came here. So, but on a regular day, 18 hours. So I'm self-taught. I teach myself things. I read articles every single day. I listen to podcasts every single day. I take as much courses as I can. I read case studies. I do whatever I can to learn about finance from a wider scale. Everything from private equity, mergers, acquisitions, everything. So, one of the things that you look at when you look at our environment, there's a lot of things that factor into why we don't have, a moving stock exchange. A big part of that is, if we being honest, if let's use super value. You're super value. And why would you want people to know what you're making? Not just why would you want people to know what you're making. Why would you want to have to disclose your biggest shareholders? Why would you want to have to show your operating expenses if you don't have to? Why would you want to know? Why would you want to have to create and put out financial statements for everybody to know? Because
there's a lot of responsibility that comes along with that. Yeah.
And on top of that, why there's, and that's just why companies don't list, because we don't have taxes, right? That's why they don't list. Why companies don't necessarily list on the other side of it is, imagine you give 50,000 Bahamians access. Imagine if, say, Prospuh was able to put, super value on the stock exchange, and you have 500 whales and 49,500 regular retail traders.
Yeah.
And one day everybody just woke up and decided that super value stock should be zero.
Woo!
Why?
That'll hurt. That'll be hurtful.
But why?
You would probably have a stroke.
Yeah. Why would you give the access and power and control over your company to other people when you want to be able to tell the true value of what it is? And that power of it is hard for a lot of people to give up, and that access to it too, because now a lot of people see what a lot of people won't appreciate, and I've seen it, and it has nothing to, it doesn't affect me, if I'm being honest, because I've been an athlete my whole entire life, but I've also been the class clown and, you know, that person my whole entire life too. In all honesty, the reality behind it is when you put yourself out there, this is a hard country to put yourself out there.
Yeah, it is. It is extremely difficult.
If you look at,
especially when you're going against the waves.
Yeah, if you look at our prime minister, it'll be very difficult outside of just the PLP party and marketing and everything. It'd be very difficult to find positive messages about him. And when you think about that deeply, outside of what ads they run, what they do, and everything like that, a man that has done some great things in the last...
It's difficult to please everybody.
Yeah. It'd be hard to find people that say, you know, hey, or an article or this or that or next.
Because everybody has their own bias.
Thank you. Yeah. So even from my standpoint, putting myself out there as a 25-year-old, I automatically get hate.
Disqualified because you're so young, you don't know anything.
Yeah. Nobody sits down and nobody asks me, okay, who's on your board of directors? Nobody asks me, okay, who are your advisors? I mean, if you look at my main advisor, right? You're talking about a guy that, you know, I don't know if I could say that, but you're talking about a guy that has a 200 plus person company, has 8 figures revenue every single month, you know, last company that is a part of company's valuation is $500 million right now.
Jeez.
Like, and is 35, right? Like, and when you look at like that is just a standard of who my advisors are, right?
You're backed by legit people.
Yeah, no, but I'm not backed by these people. They're just my advisors. These are people that I can pick up the phone and say, hey, I have this problem. I don't understand this. I have a roadblock.
But backing isn't only financial. Backing is intellect, advice, those type of things. So you have the right network of people around you that you could not even borrow, leverage information.
Shorten your learning curve.
There you go.
Yeah,
I like that. I like this guy. I do.
So for me, a lot of people don't even know what it takes to kind of put yourself out there on a level where people can just when you start running ads, when you start a company, when you go in the newspaper, what you're doing is you're basically standing in front of Bay Street naked for everybody to judge you. That's exactly what that whole entire thing is. People you don't know will talk bad about you. People you know will not ever support you. And people you don't know also will talk really great things about you.
That is true. So, that's the experience of an entrepreneur, especially in a small island state. Yeah. I think that's the perfect analogy.
Yeah. And for me, in this environment, like I have never, ever, even coming down to my team, because I sit here as one, but I represent a lot of people.
How much people are on your team?
12.
12.
But 7 here.
So 7 local and the remaining 5.
Yeah. Okay. And all of those people, I owe everything to them.
Same age range?
No. No. We have older people.
Yeah. So some salt and pepper in there somewhere?
Yeah, some older people in there. Some people making
experience.
Sure that, yeah, for sure. And for me, more or less, I owe everything to them. Right? Like everybody has done every single bit of like everything to make sure that we've gotten here today. And also believing in a vision, right? Because this is something that everybody told us that we couldn't do. This is something everybody told me that I couldn't do, right? And that's one of the biggest things growing up in the Bahamas. Everybody will tell you what you can't do.
Of course. Because it's not their vision, it's not their dream, so it's easier to tear it down than to help push it forward.
I had a lot of like compliance officers. Well, I have my compliance officers, but I have a lot of compliance people around me. Mm-hmm. And one of the things I thought was interesting is like, we would sit in these meetings beforehand. And one of the things that they would really push on to me is just like, hey, AML, this, that, like making sure we straight here and here. And I say, why does nobody come to me and bring innovative ideas? We're talking about how we're going to stop people from, you know, doing this and doing that and doing the next. But no one's talking to me about how could we help the person on the side of the street that don't even have a bank account be able to invest in stocks. Everybody talks to you and stops you and blocks you from actually being able to advance and really truly help people. Mm-hmm. And they don't come to you with innovation. They come to you with problems.
So this is more of a legacy project for you as opposed to a Fortune 500 $1 billion company. $1 billion. I'm going to speak it for you. $1 billion company.
To be honest with you, right now, just like I'm comfortable, like, and just being real. Like, we haven't spent any money on ads. I'll show you afterwards. We haven't spent any money on ads. We've grown, obviously, and we will continue to grow, but we haven't launched in any other countries yet. And I know that we will be insanely huge when we do, right? Not necessarily, what we notice is people don't even understand. Like, somebody sent me something today and I thought it was very interesting and I wanted to break it down because what they did send me was, I was like, this is ignorant. You come onto our platform, we lose money when people deposit. People don't even understand that. Like,
break that down though.
We charge a fee when you deposit, but we lose money to the banks.
Of course, because it's like, what?
Oh, yeah,
we charge you what?
We lose money. We lose money when people deposit. So we taking a risk bringing people onto our platform in the first place, right? But what you don't lose is you deposit once, you never have account fees.
And you deposit once, you'll never have account fees.
You give us $100, and we put that $100 on your own account because it's not our accounts. We don't have control of your money. It's your US dollars, if I could say that, for you to be able to trade. So that money that sits on your account as buying power, that money that right there, that's not being charged anything. So if you send $100 and put it on your Prospuh account, in 10 months, it's still going to be $100.
How, Sway? How?
Because it's not a bank. We're not looking to take money from you every single month. If you trade for sure, but we don't have account fees. Like, why would we do that? The whole entire point of these things, the whole entire point of FinTech is to challenge traditional services.
Yes.
I started this because I didn't want to be banking. I didn't want to have to walk in a bank and feel like, I sat down the other day and I thought to myself something very interesting, right? I walked into the bank. I have good relationships with the people that I bank with, right? I say, hey, how much it cost me to send 10 grand just to send 10 grand to pay a bill for something that personal expense.
Right.
How much it cost for me to send 10 grand? Like $500, $600.
Easy.
So I said, how much does it cost for me to get 10,000 US dollars right now? $5 per $1,000.
Yep, that sounds about right.
So I said, you can charge me $50 to get 10,000 US dollars. I could take the next $250 and get on a flight to go to Miami. So you robbing me of a whole entire experience because you think it's convenient to me. But in reality, I could get a whole entire experience if I wanted to do it and stay a night and be able to enjoy a whole different place. But you stopping me from doing that because you feel like, oh, you deserve to be stamp duty, this, that, and the companies, the banks have to make money and all that stuff. But banking has changed drastically over the last 4 years for sure.
4?
4 years, yeah, over the last 4 years.
I would even go back at least a full decade and a half.
Oh, banking in general has changed since then.
Yeah,
but I'm saying the structure, since COVID, the structure and how they make money and what they were making money on has changed. And what people don't do, I had a meeting this week at the bank, and one of the things that I told them, I said, hey, like one of the things that I would promote as a person is that you shop around and you understand, because you should be able to go to Scotia and say, all right, Scotia gives me 6% interest rates. I go into Commonwealth Bank to check them out. Hey, Commonwealth Bank, Scotia giving me 6%. What y'all saying?
That's the way
you
it
want
is.
my business? All right, I come in and put my money right here. All right, They offer me 5.7. Let me go down the road to go to First Caribbean. First Caribbean, Commonwealth offer me this. Then I go to BOB. And you pick whatever best option, but it's almost like as if we jump onto things and we loyal to things that don't really care about us.
No.
Because if you look at it straight across the board, not every single person that goes to work in the bank here is vested in getting shares of that company. Not every person is going to walk away with a great package deal. And in most cases right now, retirement plans are all defined contribution plans. And people don't basically get anything anymore. It's not what it was 15 years ago,
no,
like you said.
It's definitely not.
So we kind of put ourselves in these situations where we just allow these institutions to do whatever it is that they want to do. And I'm not saying fight the institutions. I'm against the institutions. This and that. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying I know for us, when you look at it, like
understand that you have options.
Yeah, understand that you have options, and we won't necessarily. All we will do as a company is educate our people and push forward the whole entire understanding that, hey, look, you can own something, you can invest. It makes more sense to invest long term, but there are people on the platform that
the short term that they'll flip and quit.
They buying penny stocks on the platform. We see that, right? But at the end of the day, one of the more interesting things is that, hey, over time, we want to be able to create a product that is fair for the people.
So speaking about the platform and buying penny stocks, what is available on Prospuh? And kind of walk me through it.
So we have access to ADRs as well, so American Depository Receipts. So some foreign companies, international companies, but we have all the US stocks and ETFs. So, and we have mostly everything is fractional shares. Not everything exactly is fractional shares, but a lot of it is fractional shares. So
instead of buying, say, Tesla is at $125 a share or whatever the case would be, you could buy $25 worth.
Yeah, you buy $25 worth. So you could buy money in dollar amount, or you could buy in shares, however you want to. The more interesting thing is that I definitely overly stretch to people. It's like, we don't own anything. You own the things. That's why you signed the W-8 ban. That's why you go through the sign-up process. That's why your passport is important. Those shares are in your name. They ain't got nothing to do with us.
So it's not like, okay, you're going to hold this for us.
No, we ain't holding nothing for nobody. We don't contribute towards what decisions you make, nor do we own anything that, not even your money. We don't hold anybody's capital. So your capital is with a fully regulated in the US custodian, and everything is traded and owned by the person that is in the name of the account, that whatever's on your passport. And
so J. Michael Phoenix wants to spend, let me just say, okay, my first trade, $500. I want to buy some Tesla. I want to buy some Netflix, some Disney Plus, or I might want to follow some senator that bought into some military contracts.
Yeah,
I could do that.
Yeah, you can do whatever it is that you feel fit, whenever you want to. And one of the features that we're launching next week in the next update is extended trading hours. So you'll be able to purchase shares. Now, we ain't where Robinhood is.
Okay. So
right?
It's not a 24/7.
So it's not 24/5, but you'll be able to purchase shares from 4 a.m. to 8 p.m.
4 a.m. to 8 p.m.
Yeah, 4 a.m. to 8 p.m.
That's not bad. That's not a bad window.
So, I mean, it gives access to everybody. You know, you come off work in the morning, you could buy your shares in the morning.
Right.
You missed the market, you was at work all day. After 5, you could purchase the shares that you want to purchase. So we're gonna be able to launch that feature next week. That's one of the things. We're constantly upgrading, and I appreciate the people that are working with us and everything. Like, went back and forth. If there are problems, we accommodate. And our support team is Bahamian, so it makes things a lot more. No matter how you come to us, how you talk to us, we understand. We understand what you're saying.
So one of the things with trading, and my trade experience is with crypto, right? And I noticed with a lot of the exchanges, they have age limits with their KYC. What is their age limit?
You have to be 18. And we have seen a lot of kids roll through with their passports trying to fly.
They want it. So and it's sad when you have to send those messages and say, hey, you're 17 or you're 16, but there's no way around it even if the parents support it.
The parents do it.
Consent. So the parents would have to do it for them.
The parents do it. We're also launching a feature as well where you can add a beneficiary as well. And so that, because obviously the process is if something happens to you or whatever it may be, there's a whole process that we have to go through.
Nice.
But we're going to also be able to do that as well. Because a big part of it is mostly for that, right? We want people to be able to invest and compound and have educational accounts. I truly promote that, actually. I think when you look at, I'm not 100% accurate on the number because I don't want to say I'm 100%. But when you're investing $100 a month, for 18 years, that's, it's tens of thousands of dollars, especially as it compounds every single year. While when that kid's grown up, that kid has now access to, money for car, money for college, money for starting a business, everything. this is something that I don't look at short term. People sit down for some reason and they think everything in success is tied to numbers, how much you're making, how much people you have, what's happening, and what's that. And I tell people, I say, stop. I say, I tie success to the people that use the platform 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from now, how successful those people are. You can't ask me about my success. You can't ask me what numbers are, what's happening here, what's happening there. Ask me about the people. Ask me about the things that are truly important, not the things that are irrelevant. You have companies with 1 million customers that lose money.
Right.
Like
they never make a profit.
And never make a profit. You have a lot of companies here that never make a profit, right? That are huge. So what's the difference? Are they not successful? But those companies still pay for those people to go to send their kids to school, put meals in the house, right? So whatever success is tied to, people try to throw this thing on you where you got to be about numbers and this and how much you make it, why are you doing it? Nah, be tied to the mission, be tied to the vision of what it is that you're actually building, because this is just one part of the whole entire ecosystem of what it is that I want to build. And I'm only 25, so I have 20 years before I'm 45 to build, all the things that I even think that I even want to do.
Walk me through this build up, because you mentioned earlier that this is the first Iron State that you launched in. What other jurisdictions are you looking at?
So we're looking at all the non-tax jurisdictions in the Caribbean. It's about 25 or so countries.
Okay.
Right.
And when you say non-tax, you're talking about capital gains.
Well, yeah.
Okay.
So, and then also countries that don't have TINs.
Okay.
Yeah, that don't give TINs to their residents. And, when we test it, because we have people from other countries that we can't obviously stop. And it's obviously also good to test. But we do allow, currently right now, Haitians. You have people from Turks.
Okay.
St. Lucia, and a few other small places in there as well. So, but our whole entire thing is, even when we launch in those countries, we have plans to launch in those countries in a way where it is all about the culture.
So you want to integrate the app to the culture.
Yeah, to the culture of the country. And I think that that's only fair, right? When you think about how companies have changed to what it is today, it's almost like a new age, vibe of what a company is. Because even in a sense, people want to see a face.
Yes.
Then to that face, people want to see a brand and a lifestyle.
Yes, they do.
But they also want to be able to associate with that person.
Of course.
Right? Like I've had people that want to meet me because of the amount that they want to deposit. Right? Like that's fine. I'm a real person.
Okay.
No, but
I get it.
Because of the questions that people have.
Right.
Right. Like, and I'm a very available person. If somebody that has $20 on their account has a problem and it's elevated to me, I will call that person, and people can account for that. Because once again, it doesn't matter what you have. It's about what it is the mission is. Right. And I would.
Hold on for 1 second. You make time for the $20 investor.
Oh, for sure.
So that would bring me to this question. And Nick, my producer, he wanted this question. Do you think what advice would you give someone who has never invested and think they are probably too poor or they don't make enough to invest?
Everybody makes enough to invest. One of the things that I always say is time in the market isn't relevant. It's about time in the market. You can invest $20 a month. You can invest $20 every 2 months. And in 5 years, it will make a difference. And if you just buy ETFs every month, manage funds every single month, if you just buy the things you use in the food store every single month,
what you consume,
the things that you like,
Colgate,
or Nike, and Colgate is a stock that's $250 something. You know what I'm saying? Like
toilet paper was a big thing in Colgate.
Hey, so it's like when you think about it, I would always say that there's no such thing as poor people. Like in our environment, that's what we tell ourselves.
That's what we're conditioned.
That's what we're conditioned. That's what's forced on us. There's nobody in this environment that's poor. And the whole entire aspect of what it is that we were doing and why we were doing it is to show people that everybody should have access to being able to be an investor. Because giving access to investing is not just about buying stocks. It's about knowing that you can invest in general.
Yes.
Knowing that you can invest in yourself, knowing that you can invest in the stock market, knowing that you can invest in a new business, it creates a new characteristic that teaches you that fear is not real.
You're breaking a new mold. You're creating a new mold, because I remember being a teenager and you see these shows where the broker is the big Rolex and all this other stuff, and you'd be like, well, why don't we have that? And now we have it through your company.
Yeah.
How important? Obviously, it's very important to change the mindset, but how urgent is it? And are you getting any resistance from the would-be quote-unquote Bahamian gatekeepers?
I don't know. I mean, to be honest with you,
because the gatekeepers are real. They in every different industry, they are real. They will keep down innovation.
I don't really care.
Okay.
Like I like I said, I was an athlete my whole entire life. I represented the Bahamas for years. National records, relay medals.
Which sport?
Swimming.
Oh, swimming. You're a swimmer. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Gold medals, silver medals, you name it.
All right.
For years. Up to world class level as well. So for me, I always tell people, one of the things is I got a chance to train with this professional athlete. We'll name him. Not the same sport, a different sport.
Okay.
And completely changed my mentality. Top of his sport, 9-figure athlete. And one of the things he said to me, and it really changed my mindset in general. He said, look, you just, at the end of the day, when you get in that water, you in your own lane. Like, everybody else is in collaboration with you, but you got your own race to do. You got to get to the wall. And my whole entire thing is I take that same mentality into business. It's like, you could ask me about this company or that company or the next company. I may know everything about everybody, right? Because that's just me. I do a lot of research. I take time to understand everything. But when it comes to it, everybody's just in collaboration with me. Like, I'm not a hateful person. I don't want anybody to lose. I don't want anybody to not make money. I'm not that at any level. I am the type of person that is just there to build things, innovate, and understand that, hey, I'm building a company for the next 100 years. What are y'all doing?
So it is a legacy thing for you.
What are y'all doing? Like, if y'all are interested in doing X, Y, Z and just making money and not innovating and not doing this and that, because when I was doing this, a lot of these guys had the opportunity. I wanted to build this same product for somebody 5 years ago.
You wanted to build this for somebody else, not for yourself, but for somebody.
I wanted to build this for somebody
else. And what did they say to you?
Don't make sense. Wouldn't work.
Wow.
I have the designs on my computer still. My first computer.
Was it the same company name?
No.
No.
It's in their name, but I won't say what company that is.
Jeez.
But I wanted to build this before, and it was I got the UI UX designs on my computer.
You're a really humble guy, because if it were me, you're a better person than me. I would be airing them out right now. I don't care who you are. You fumbled this aspect. You showed me that you weren't in that headspace. And a lot of people can't appreciate things because, again, they can't see the forest from the trees.
Yeah. I mean, I've been offered money for the company for sure.
Already?
Before it was done.
Jesus. I mean, I could see that.
I wouldn't say the amount, but it's...
It was a good buy? It wasn't good enough?
Nah, I wouldn't say that it's good enough. I don't need it. I mean,
you gotta protect this young man.
If I just had a meeting, I don't even know if I could say that information because I don't even know if that's public information.
Keep it general. Keep it very general.
But I had a meeting with I had a meeting. This guy that owns this company, that's a very big company that everybody in this room would know. He sold, I think, 40% of his company off during his Series A round. And literally by the time he sold his company for $1 billion, he made $30 million. Like, that's what he walked away with. Right? Like, and half of that goes to taxes, first and foremost.
Jeez.
And money just went. But like when I was having that conversation, I was like, what? Like, and for me, every single time that kind of conversation came up where it's like, oh, money, this and money, I try to tell people all the time, I don't actually like the logic of this. You don't need money. You need a plan. Most people move forward with money first instead of a plan. If I come to you and I say, hey, I have $100,000 I want to give you right now.
Mm-hmm.
can you show me if I'll give you this $100,000, put in your account details and I'll send it to you on the conditions of in the next 60 seconds, you can email me a strategic plan, a competitive analysis, a full-on business plan, what your capital expenditure looks like, what does scalability looks like? Do you have any verticals and horizontals for what you want to do in this business? Do you have potential partnerships in place? Do you know exactly which third parties you need to be able to integrate into or to partner with? Do you know exactly where you're going to source things from, who your suppliers are? And in most cases, no one will be able to provide that. But I walked around for the last 5 years being able to. And I tell people all the time, it's not, luck is preparation times opportunity.
That is.
You don't walk into a casino and win $100,000 in black because you need $50,000 to put on the table. You know, at the end of the day, you need to be prepared and also have the opportunity to make the 100 G's.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you have to look at things in a way where in this environment, all you just need to do is have a plan. And you don't need people to believe in you. You just need to believe in yourself. I never gave up one time. I never gave up at 4 a.m. in the morning. I never gave up, you know, and people, and it's funny because I always say this, I say, like, no one could tell me that I ever was lucky. You know, I stopped every single thing that I was doing and I literally just focused on this. Every single money opportunity. And if you understand anything about business, I lost money for the last 4 years of my life building this. I stopped trading. I stopped everything. I stopped, like, because everybody focuses on just this small thing of like, oh, I need to be time consumed by this. I was like, can I survive? Yes. Can I make it? What's my burn rate? What's this? What's that? Let me just make it through. And
nobody understands that aspect of entrepreneurship, you know. No one really sees it because they only see the Instagram stories or the celebratory aspect of it, but they don't understand the grind and sometimes the insanity that goes into building a brand from scratch, from absolutely nothing. The level of rejection that you have to deal with, your mental health, balance.
There's a lot of disappointment. One of the biggest things that I kind of said to myself a lot of times is just like, oh, you know, I'm not doing this for anything else. I'm doing this so that I never have to be disappointed again. So that I never have to depend on specific things or like, I obviously had to come out of my comfort zone with a lot of different things, but the disappointment aspect of things, and I mean, the sleep deprivation and hallucinations that you get from not sleeping for days and not eating properly. And I slept in the office for the first 6 months, like, all of those things are easy to do. Like anybody that tells me that those things are hard, I came back home, but when I came back home, I was an insane athlete. I was doing things that I didn't even know I could do. I would wake up in the morning and just run 10 miles just because, and go to the office and just be in the office all day. And then I go to the gym at 10 and I come back. I have a shower in my office, get right back to my computer and work until I can't work no more.
What do your parents have to say about your drive in the company and what you've been able to do?
Somebody called me today, older guy, really old guy, well-known Bahamian, to wish me happy birthday. Shout out to them. I learned a lot of things from a lot of these older guys that, you know, take the time to sit down and have conversations and teach me about things I never even knew about the Bahamas. And he called me and he said, well, man, I hope you enjoying your birthday. You know, I let all the other guys know and stuff like that. And I said, no, man, I working today. He said, you sound like somebody else I know. I grew up with my dad, right? My dad is a workaholic. He worked his whole entire life. So for me, it's no different. It doesn't even faze me. Working makes me happy. Being able to learn makes me happy. I am not moved by anything else other than experiences and knowledge. Like I am the person you sit down with and you just want to, I can tell you about things that you would not even just think about on a regular daily basis. I just seek information about every and anything from every and any industry. I could tell you about the medical industry. I could tell you about construction. I could tell you about every and anything.
You just like to consume information.
I consume information, and I put myself in circles, and I put myself around people that allow me to consume that information even quicker. You know, and I take the time to fall in love with learning, and to me, that's a part of my day every single day. Waking up and being able to learn something, challenging myself to new things, putting myself in new situations that I'm uncomfortable in, and being able to shorten my learning curve as much as I can in every single situation that I kind of am faced with. So that aspect of it is a very important thing to kind of always keep in the back of your mind. Like, you want to be better than you every single day, you know. And I tell people all the time, I'm married to the older version of myself, right? I do every single thing every single day to make sure that the me at 30 is happy, you know. And I sacrifice a lot of time and, you know, and just in general, just I would prefer to be here tonight than to be anywhere else, because I know.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know how much more important this would be than just sitting around somewhere with people out somewhere where I could always be out, where I could always spend the money. You know, like I tell people all the time, I say, look, if you got, and this is what people don't understand, if you have, one of the things that we talk about poorness and everything, it's much easier to look rich than be rich, right? You could rent a Lambo for today.
That is true.
You could buy designers.
We know a lot of people doing that right now.
Yeah, you could do all these different things. You could buy everything and spend all kind of money towards things or whatever it may be. And at the end of the day, people need to understand that, you know, being rich or being wealthy in true reality is the things that you should want. And that has nothing to do with money. Because if you were on a bed dying, you couldn't see, you couldn't move, paralyzed, you couldn't hear anymore. And I gave you $50 million, you can't do nothing with it.
Can't do nothing with it.
No.
Health is wealth.
Yeah. So it's like, at the end of the day, you know, we chase after things and situations, but what truly always made me happy was just being able to say, hey, I could wake up today and I could learn something. I could wake up today and I could be nice to someone. I could wake up today and I never have to change who I am as a character to please anybody. I could just be me. And a part of being you is almost like, hey, you don't open up the door for a woman because it's the right thing to do for her. You open up the door because it's the right thing to do for yourself. But we're not taught that lesson. We're taught that that's the polite thing to do. The polite thing to really do is to be that as a person for anybody, to be a helping hand to anybody that you can help, to make anybody else's journey easier. But we don't consume those things when we're growing up. We learn these things later on in life, and by then it's a little bit too late.
Where did you go to school? What's your high school? What's because this aura, this vibe, you are a vibe.
I don't know if my school has anything to do with it. I wasn't a smart kid in school. I never cared about school. As a matter of fact, I tell people all the time, I say, school, I wish more young people understood what school actually is. School is an environment to teach yourself the skills that you need in the real world. For example, I built my confidence in school.
Okay, that's true.
When it comes to math is just a way to essentially teach yourself strategy and problem solving skills.
Yeah, that's true.
It's not about statistics, algebra, any of that stuff. It's about, hey, like for example, you have a big problem in life, you break it into smaller problems and you solve the smaller problems, you solve the big problem.
Yeah.
Now we make school about, I have to do math, I have to do bio, I have to do this, I have to do that. But school for me was just an environment for me to just learn how to talk to people. It was, and that's me being a class clown. I got my first mentor in Starbucks, turning around, hearing this guy talk about a plane. Who's my friend to this day? Buying a plane, not talking about the price. I just turned around, I said, what do you do? I was 16, right? Like, and he's like, holy, this kid can talk. Like, you got some confidence. But in reality of it, I would talk in any class. I would talk in front of any teacher. Like,
you were built for this, then.
I wouldn't say that I was built for it, because all these things are skills that anybody could learn. Confidence is a skill. Ambition is also a skill. Like, all these things are skills, but we lie to ourselves and we tell people that, hey, you gotta go down a path to be confident, or you gotta be an entrepreneur. But the reality of it is, all these things can be learned. I was a class clown, but I was never focused, right? I was always all over the place. But one of the things that I knew for sure is that I knew that one day I would use these skills to build something that is for other people. And I knew that every step of the way that there's something bigger with every single thing that you're doing. So the school to me was not as important as the things that I learned in school. Because when you say a school, people start to judge you based off of that. If I go and tell you a school, you're gonna, oh, well, what's the difference if I told you I went to CR versus if I told you I went to St. Andrews versus if I told you I went to SAC? What's the difference? It don't really matter. We all Bahamians, we in the same environment, and we base each other off of these different things, but in reality of it, it doesn't make a difference. I understand every single part of it. I'm the only person in my family that went to private school. So I was in a family of people that all went to government school. But somebody else would say to me that makes a difference, but it doesn't. You know, like, because nobody knows what the sacrifice is that was made for that to
make that happen, yeah.
Right? And also, too, it ain't my fault my parents sent me to private school. You understand?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that ain't on me. If my friends went to St. Andrews or Life at Key, it ain't their fault that their friends had and their parents had the money to send them.
You weren't saying nothing to me but a word, bro.
So it's like I wouldn't even go into what school I went to because all that is irrelevant. I the first book I ever read in my life, I was 18. I never read a book till I was 18.
You never read like something that you picked up for yourself?
I never read a book till I was 18. I never.
Do you remember the name of the first book?
No.
What do you read now?
No, I remember the first book.
What was it?
How to Win Friends and Influence People.
That's a hell of a book.
Nah,
that's a serious topic.
That's surface level compared to
what are you reading now?
One of the reality transurfing books, which is pretty deep. Those books when they start to get above $100,
Okay.
Paper, you get a paperback of over $100, get something in there. So, but that's kind of like what I'm on now. I actually read four books I read 3 books at a time. Right now, I'm reading about 6 books a month. Yeah, it's a part of my, so
the evolutionary process.
Yeah, I read about 6 books a month right now. I consume a lot of podcasts every single day. Some really good, interesting podcasts, and I try to switch it up. And I also don't just read books by male authors. As men, we find ourselves in situations where we tend to just pick up books by male authors, and I kind of go out of my way.
Really, I would never think.
When
about
you think
that.
about it, it's actually a very interesting thing. It's a very interesting study. I kind of go out of my way now because that was brought up to me, where I go out of my way to get women authors and kind of get a completely different perspective.
I have to check my bookshelf.
Check it. When you look at all these books, Rich Dad Poor Dad, this, that, all this stuff, go and read a book that's written by a woman.
I'll do that.
Yeah, go and read a book.
I think one book that I really liked, it was a female author, The Meantime.
I don't think I've ever read it.
That's a pretty good one. That left a mark on me. That was a really good one.
Okay, I gotta dive into that. But like I said, the school thing, man, I don't think that stuff matters. I don't. If anybody can watch this and know me, and has like, if this could be shown to the whole entire Bahamas, this episode is shown to the whole entire Bahamas. There's people that would never know I do what I do. That would be like, every single day, no matter where you is on the streets. If I could do something to help somebody else, I'm gonna do it.
Okay.
And if I can impact somebody else, because that's all it's about. If I could do that, I'm doing it every single day. And I don't care who you are. I'll stop to have the conversation. I'll sit in uncomfortable places and talk to people. I'll learn things and try to at least help. So I don't try to put myself into a category, whether you're from this or that and next. What I try to say is, like, I'm Bahamian. If I was to ever become a politician, which I cannot.
Please don't.
Please don't. I would not. But if I ever was to become a politician, I would walk from house to house with a Bahamian shirt on. Not a FNM or PLP or DNA. Or
not the party that you belong to, just a Bahamian shirt.
Just a Bahamian shirt. Because I never understood why are you going and doing good for people and building your name up as a thing? Why not just be a person? Why this one running you off the porch or saying this or saying that and all this other stuff? Why just not go be there and just be a good person? Hey, I want to do this for you. My name is so-and-so. I wish a lot of these dudes took that approach. Instead of campaigning and this and, hey, you see me and hey, my name is N'Nhyn Fernando. I just want to get to know you and see what certain things you need help with, and I just want to hear you out. What's wrong with that? If I was a person and I was in a political space, that's what I would do. And when I say that's what I would do, I would actually do.
I believe you. I actually believe you. You seem like a very genuine person. You're very grounded, but yet still have that. And I don't even know. You get it. You have that it.
Just understanding what the world needs. And I always say happiness to me is loving myself without judging myself. And in order to do that, you don't judge other people for where they are, for what they do, why they do it, what situations they put themselves in. If they don't put themselves in situations, at the end of the day, you can't judge other people. Everybody, life is all about perception and perspective. But everybody has a different perspective. If all of us in here go up a hill and take a camera and is told to take a picture, no picture would be the same.
Every perspective is totally different.
So I mean, I don't take the time to sit around and like be like, oh, I'm gonna judge this person or that person. And I don't feel like, once again, one of the biggest things that my dad would have grown me up with the mindset behind is don't change your character for anybody. Don't lose your emotion. Don't change your character for anybody. Be you all of the time for everybody. Be a good person. Like, be able to understand that when you walk into a room, what you do, what you say, how you act, it impacts at least one person. And that one person, they may need that day. Mm-hmm. So whenever you're put into a situation, even if you have hate towards me, I'm still going to be me. People can go and say anything they want to say about me online or about the company or whatever it may be. I'm still going to push what my mission is, because none of that stuff matters. And I still would talk to each one of those people just as if they were normal people, not knowing that, hey, here's a kid that spent the last 7 years of his life building all the skills, building every single thing that he needed to from the ground up. No one's going to sit there and have that conversation with me. I'm not going to be perfect. No, it's my team.
Right.
But at the end of the day, what we're going to do is be ourselves. I would take every single person that has a problem with me and I'll put them in a room and I would love to speak to them, because I don't have any hate towards anybody or anything at all. There's no reason for that energy in general.
2 more questions for you before we wrap. Mm-hmm. The next 24 months of Prospuh, what should we be expecting?
Whatever the people want.
Whatever the people want.
Whatever the people want. That's what you build your product around. You build your product around the people that use it and consume it. You don't build your product around what you want.
So whatever your community is pushing you towards, driving you towards.
From education to features to look to anything, we will accommodate the people.
Speaking about education, what platforms are you using? Like where are you now?
We offer free education on www.prospuh.academy/LND. We offer free education now, or you can go to www.prospuh.com and then go to learn and then click the button. It goes to that as well. So we offer free education right now. It's more beginner like, but we want to dive into how to use the app properly and then how-tos and everything like that. Our whole entire thing is education, because we understand how important it is. We do get a lot of questions, and trust me, I know the questions that we get because I sit down we all have access to the support. So I sit down and I answer most of the support things as well.
So if I have a problem, 9 times out of 10, I'm talking to you.
Yeah, most people won't think that, but yeah. And I'm not talking about it's not like 5 people. It's like a lot of people.
Yeah,
like hundreds of people. And I would sit down and I would literally answer.
Okay. I'm going to give you the last word with this one. You launched in the Bahamas. Mm-hmm. This is something that is a long time coming. Mm-hmm. What's a word that you would give to someone, like I said, they may feel that it isn't important. They don't have the time for it, or they don't have the resources for it. Give them that word.
Every single person in this country has resources to invest. There's only 2 things that you can do with your money. It's spend it and invest it. Saving is just an illusion. You are saving at the cost of inflation to keep your money liquid and accessible to you. You're losing a ton of money, and your money is worth much more today than it's worth in the future. But if you're investing it, you're most likely compounding it and growing it at the same time. These companies want you to save, but they want to offer you 0% interest rates. And they also want to take fees from you every single month. And they also take money every single time you spend money. At the end of the day, some of those things are inevitable, I understand. But to be honest with you, the reality behind it is you only can spend and invest your money. We don't own our money. Money is just in your custody for right now. Mm-hmm. If I give you $100 and you give him 5, you give her 10, that money was just your $100, but you didn't own it because it went to him, and he may give that $2 that $5 to him. You know what I mean? And that money just trickles down, and it always does. We don't keep the money. And the only way to keep your money is to have assets in place that are constantly collecting and bringing money to you. If you look at the country, last year, we did $1.2 billion in revenue from VAT. The only people in this economy that make money are the banks and the government. The government single-handedly takes on top 10% of everything.
Yeah.
They're collecting that money.
The most successful disposable tax ever. They
are the ones that are making money.
They're pimping us.
Yeah, they're the money makers in our environment. So are the banks. Every time you swipe your card, every single time you have at the end of the month, every single transaction that you make, the bank makes money.
Yes.
And
absolutely
I have that broken down in my head. So I know exactly what that looks like because of, avenues that we want to explore. And, that's the way of that business model. But what they do is very interesting with that. Now, once again, you can't have and live in this perspective where it's like, hey, I am saving money, because that doesn't exist. And then you also have to understand how investing works, not just from, say, real estate stocks and all these things, not from that perspective, but just investments of time. If you make $10,000 today and you're able to start investing in things now, and in 10 years, that investment now makes $10,000 a year, you don't have to work. Financial freedom is different from freedom. Financial freedom is easily achievable, for sure, for most Bahamians. But we look all the way down the line. Like, for example, you could find somebody that just can make thumbnails for YouTubers, or that could just edit simple, small videos, and that might be what you do for the whole entire month. And if you can make $3,000 doing that, and you could make your expenses only $1,000, you make $2,000, you could travel the world on $3,000, right? But it's all the perspective of it. And a big part of that helps is investing in things and investing in yourself as well. Being able to understand that whole entire thing about savings, which is, like I said, it's an illusion, and that you can only spend and invest money, you start to get a better understanding of why it's so important to invest. Because you want to put yourself in a situation where that money is constantly being able to make more money by compounding. And you also want to put yourself in a situation where you start to understand how companies make money. You start to be an owner of companies that are making money. Mm-hmm. There's 3 tiers in business. There's self-employed, there's business owner, and there's investor. If Warren Buffett makes $500 million a year from Coca-Cola and the CEO makes $50 million, he's the investor making more money.
Right.
And I would definitely leave with the whole entire aspect of something that, we don't necessarily look at when we look at that whole entire thing of investor, business owner, and self-employed, is only us as people want to have side hustles. I've never heard a Jewish or white
speak to them, boy,
business person that I would associate myself around. And not even to put it like that, if it's Jewish, white, or whatever.
It doesn't matter. But
I've never ever heard any single one of them in my life say that I want to have a side hustle. I don't care if that business only making $20 a month, they don't call it a side hustle. That's a business. That's an LLC. That LLC in a trust, or that's something.
Yeah.
But only us want to have a side hustle. A side hustle is not a real thing. A side hustle is already a failing mentality.
You make it seem that it's illegitimate.
Yeah, it's because it's just like, hey, I just want a side hustle.
Right. That's nothing serious.
Yeah, a side hustle is no different than being in a dope game. That's all. That's our own way of it. Oh, I want a side hustle. Why you just don't want a business?
Just a business.
Because a side hustle is just something that
it's pretty much a hobby that like you bring a little change money.
Yeah. Why? Why not scale? Why not be big? Why not make money when you're not there? Why not have other people be able to scale that for you? Why you just want something that's just, I just got this little thing over here. There's no true substance in that. But we as people, like I say, we need to invest more in our mentality. Know that as Bahamians, we can own everything and we own this Bahama land. We just celebrated independence. I wasn't here for it.
50 years, I wasn't here either in Canada.
But I laughed at it because I said, hey, look, we're the most dependent people. Right?
The most dependent, independent people ever.
Yeah. And to this day, we don't understand why. But I am hoping to be a part of the young people in the country that brings forth change to the mentality, to the drive, to the perspective of other young people, of older people, of the generations to come. So that's my spiel. But hey,
you know what? I'm gonna cut it there, and I hope that at some point when you continue, you know what? Let's make next year this time. Let's have a continuation of this conversation. Let's see where Prospuh is then.
Yeah.
But I wish you nothing but success. I know you're gonna achieve it because this is a great thing. And like I said before at the beginning, I've heard good things from some very well-respected people.
Mm-hmm.
And I was surprised because usually they're a bit staunch, and set in their ways. So for them to put this level of respect on it, I was like, yeah, this is legit. And it's something that I will look at. Mm-hmm. And I do have a school as well. So you may see some of my little hood rats trying to,
DGen penny stock buys.
DGen penny stocks.
Hey, nothing wrong with that, man. I all for it. I have different accounts, so I tend to, but for if I have to leave, I guess with anything, the biggest thing for me is allowing people to understand that stress is not real, it's internal. And positivity is probably one of the most important things that you need to be able to consume at all times. No negativity. Stress, if I slap you right now, she can't stress out. She ain't got no reason to stress out. The only reason that she's stressed out is she wants stress out. People have to understand that. With their lives, if you create stress, if you create negativity, you will stop yourself from understanding that any and everything is possible. I say to people all the time, was I a 3.0 honor roll student? No. Right? Was I perfect kid after that? No. Did I know how to do everything? No. But I knew that anything was possible. Did everybody tell me that this would have never be possible? Yeah.
A lot of people, I'm sure.
Yeah, for sure. Every single step of the way. But did I stress about it? Never once. Do I know what stress is? Bad stress at least? No, not at all. Do I have any bit of negativity in my life from anybody that I'm around? Not one person. Not one person. No.
Is that because you audit your circle?
I audit myself every day.
Good.
And
very good.
I've had the same circle my whole entire life.
Okay.
I don't have any. I think, interestingly enough, my close friends that I'm like friends with, most of the guys that I hang around are in their late 30s. But I don't necessarily. When it comes to my day-to-day and the people who I talk to, the people who I've grown up with, I've had the same circle. I've changed my number maybe about, and as you can see, I have 4 phones, but I've changed my number maybe 12 times in the last 3 years. Yeah. If you don't get the new number, then you ain't supposed to have it.
Huh. Interesting.
Yeah.
Let's stay in contact. Let me stay in contact.
Yeah.
Let me stay in
That's
contact.
why the whole entire thing tonight was set up through somebody else.
Yes, it was.
It makes things a lot easier for me, and then it's a whole lot of things I don't even stress about anymore.
No, protect yourself. I definitely get it. And like I said, I love your vibe. You're an entire mood. And I think a lot of young men, young people, and Bahamians on the whole, and anybody that listens to this show, they could learn a lot from what you had to say. This has been another episode of the Full Gambit Podcast. I'll see you guys next week.